Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Colin Vallance. I'm going to talk to you about the DEF CON wireless network today. You can find me on Twitter at _CRV. My day job is the wireless technical architect at CDW. And that's a lovely little picture of me after about 7 days at DEF CON where I have had not nearly enough sleep. So Keith reminded us, you guys are all smart people. So I'm just going to dive right in. Slides might be a little weird, but we're just going to get right to it because I've only got 10 minutes. So here goes. So DEF CON, as you guys probably know, it is the world's largest hacker conference. One of the big challenges we face is security. Really, a lot of what we end up seeing is not anything that you guys aren't seeing in the field, but we see it at a larger scale. So honeypots and evil twins. So first of all, thanks to Blake for taking care of a little bit of introduction on the Ponagachi. There's a lot of presenters that have already done my work for me, so this is great. I'm just building off of what everyone else already said. So we see honeypots, we see evil twins. Frankly, it's a hacker conference. We expect this, and we kind of let some of it go. But they're out there, and if they're doing damage to our network, we will go find them. The biggest example I can think of over the last couple years, we had someone spoofing the property SSID one year. And turns out Caesars doesn't like that. You could probably talk to Ryan about how they view other people spoofing their Wi-Fi. So we actually went and tracked that down, and that person got escorted off of the property. I think they did work something out, but that is not something you want to do. Feel free to attack the DEF CON network, but do not mess with the casino network. Obviously, we do see nasty traffic. Again, hacker conference, we kind of don't care unless you're messing with our network, but we do get some other interesting sort of artifacts out of that. This last year, everyone got on the network, said, okay, can I get out? Started pinging Google. Upstream providers saw that DEF CON was pinging Google's DNS servers constantly. Those ICMP requests stopped working very shortly after. And then the NOC got a bunch of calls. Hey, the internet's down. I said, no, it's fine. You just can't ping Google anymore. Onboarding clients securely. That is a big, big problem. Thanks to JJ for kind of already going over PEEP, so I don't have to go into any of that. We do run a PEEP network for our secure network, and it's a bunch of hackers that don't trust the network when they get there. So how do you get those clients on the network securely without having them say, well, I'm not doing this on your network, you're going to look at my credentials. The little icon down there is actually the icon from an Android app that we did this year. That was an interesting challenge. We do profiles for Apple machines, we have instructions for Windows machines, we have WPA supplicant example configs, but Android was always a bit of a nasty one because the native supplicant's kind of hard to mess with. So we actually rolled out a Google Play application this year that had the cert in it, set up your supplicant correctly, did all the correct checking, and then you could get that before the conference started and be secure on the network. The way that we solve a lot of this stuff is what I've been dubbing the KISH security strategy, or keep it simple hacker. We're doing some pretty simple stuff. It's not really rocket science. So not Chris for talking to you guys about a big conference Wi-Fi. We do a very similar thing. 2.4 only is the open. 5 gig is our secure PEEP network. And the big reason that we do that is honestly all the cheap crap from China, all your Wi-Fi pineapples, all of the D-authors, that's all sitting on 2.4 for the most part because the people that buy it, stand it up out of the box, don't look at it, that's in that band. The more sophisticated operators will be able to do it in the 5 side, but frankly we see less of it. So that's the playground. 2.4 is a mess. You got people standing up all sorts of stuff. Stay on the 5 side, that's where our secure network is. We do turn on client isolation, so clients are not talking to each other. We do block MDNS, so there's no discovery leaks. We're not there to run services so that you can play Apple movies or anything like that. The firewall allows internet only. Frankly, we don't really care where you go, hacker conference, but you're just going outbound. You're not getting across VLANs once you're on the wire. You're not talking to villages. You're not getting across anything. We do support some things by request, but it really takes an arm twist for us to allow any sort of traffic to traverse across any of our VLANs. I do mild RF tuning. We want to make sure our power channels look good. We try to keep as much RF away from the casino floor as possible. Obviously, we're running Airwave, so we're doing client match and making sure that that's behaving, and a little bit of data rate manipulation there. But ultimately, complication is your enemy. I want people to get on my network fast. I want them to be as secure as we can make them, and I want them to actually use it. And we've seen over the last couple of years, we've actually driven users up from when I started about 6 years ago, where we're getting numbers close to 1,500 or so at a max user count, which was probably double what we used to do. So some of the problems. A lot of times it's not the Wi-Fi. You guys know this. We do a lot of patching. All of our stuff is over the top. So we come in, drop switches in. We use the venue's fiber. Sometimes the fiber works great. Sometimes the fiber does not work great. The patching often is across the floor, gaff tape down. As you can see in some of those photos, those fiber links in the closets are not always fun to actually get your hands in there and get the fiber connected. The nice sheared cables there, I got an alert in Airwave, and one of my APs went down. Well, why? Walked over there, and Airwall had moved from daytime to evening setup, and they just ripped the AP right out. So the AP was sitting there 2 feet away. We picked it back up, figured out how to get it back up there, but that's not a Wi-Fi problem, really. Sure, the AP went down, but that's sort of some of the stuff we deal with. And then drop quantities. We're across 4 properties this last year. Paris, Planet Hollywood, Bally's, and the Flamingo. Flamingo is a very old building. I had probably a 16th of the drops that I really wanted, and we have to support the wired network. So I had very few access points out there. Honestly, Flamingo Wi-Fi was pretty terrible, but I'm kind of backed into a corner on that one. Sometimes it is the Wi-Fi. So we had someone report on Twitter one year, hey, I can't get on the Wi-Fi. Well, where are you? Oh, I'm on the casino floor. Yeah, that's a big no-no. We don't support that. So yeah, there's not going to be Wi-Fi on the casino floor from us. Property SSID coordination. We don't get the luxury of doing that. So Caesars still has to run their business. They have all their SSIDs on top. There's another group called Encore that also resells conference space Wi-Fi. So if we're not taking over the whole building, sometimes they're sitting in there as well. Sometimes we just have to kind of be the loudest. There is noise, obviously. So again, try to be the loudest. AP mounting and placement. I hope you're all looking at that picture and cringing. And a shout out to Marcus from yesterday. Yes, there are zip ties holding those up. I am not super proud of the way that those are up, but we found out about 5 hours before. You have to find the run in between this area you weren't planning on using. You have to get a PoE switch out there. You have to put a couple APs up. That's not nearly enough to support the people in there. But that's what we had to deal with. So not a great Wi-Fi experience, but we needed something. And then we had one up on the stage for the presenter. And then room changes is a big thing. Rooms change constantly. I do a predictive with Ekahau before the conference, probably start doing that in about a month. But the layout for that conference changes, I don't know, a couple hundred times. So I take a best shot. When we get there the week of, we make as many changes as we can, but it usually is influx right up until the day we start, and even then changes during. And Sam, don't worry, I'm shaming myself on that one, so thanks. Wireless infrastructure, real quick. So 7210, again, that was the main large casinos, 7005 in Flamingo, because I literally had very few APs. We're running 305s, we have about 100 of them. We're running Airwave for monitoring. We do have some custom infra, and the Wi-Fi Reg is probably the biggest piece of that. It's kind of a dumb server on the front end. You can go in and put a username and password before the conference, use it as a throwaway. It's just a database in the back end running free radius. We also run Libra NMS, a little bit of Kubernetes and Ansible for monitoring and some orchestration stuff. This is what the network looked like last year at the main 3 areas that we had fiber runs in between. And then we had a link over the internet from our main server to get to Flamingo to just shuttle a little bit of traffic, but most of the traffic stayed pretty local. I've only got 45 seconds left, so we'll go and talk a little bit about coming soon. So we were not running AOS 8 last year. I wanted to run WPA 3, but we ended up saying I'm not comfortable with the bleeding edge code. We'll probably be doing that this year. I'd like to run WPA 3. We're talking about enhanced open, but client support and then having to deal with people saying, well, the wireless doesn't work, that's going to be a game time decision. We also talked about Passpoint. I'm not so sure about that one. I think a lot of hackers, if they look down and see that they're on my Wi-Fi without having specifically tried to get on my Wi-Fi, will be really upset with me. So that might be a discussion later, and maybe we'll do a talk before we enter into that. But you know, that's where we're kind of going. We're sort of slow because the hackers are scary people. Just wanted to say thanks to WLPC. This is one of my favorite conferences to come to every year. Thanks to Aruba. They do all the sponsoring for our gear at DEF CON. Thanks to Wi-Fi Stand. They donated a bunch of stands to us last year, which unfortunately we didn't get to use. And then if there's anyone else that's involved with DEF CON, thank you. Or if you're watching later, it's a great conference and I get a lot of support out there. That's it.